Let me teach you about codes. Codes, my students have codes, special education codes. Not colds, viral, pathological, easy to catch. Codes, more serious in their grim munificence. They linger long beyond school. When our daughter was little, my wife and I spoke in code for her own protection from what was too intense. Now she speaks in code with her friends. Their interference thwarts ours, and we're the baffled ones. Maybe special education codes are meant to protect too, euphemistically muting diagnoses. Problem is, colleges don't speak these codes. If our students want the same help there, they can't say they were coded. They need to learn to call themselves disabled. We call this self-advocacy. Some students with 54 codes have trouble decoding their words. A computer can be coded to read to them, out loud, like the ancients did. The first silent reader, a witch or a devil. Code 42s have trouble with the code of conduct, and the code of conduct has trouble with them, like musicians who can't be conducted, or circuits that conduct too much current. A code 44, medically disabled, could have autism, troubles with social codes, or leukemia, genetic codes gone wild, to deadly effect. An IQ test has a coding task, which means copying, which you're not supposed to do in school, except off the blackboard, which is a sign of intelligence. And from what I'm told, thanks Mom, if they had them back in 1979, I would have had a code in school too. I was so clumsy that I was tested and found wanting in visual motor integration. The shrink called it brain damage and said there wasn't much to be done. And then as Mom cried, he shrugged and said, maybe I don't grow the worst. It was true. I couldn't write neatly, count little dots, or play sports very well. These were valued codes in school, and I wasn't popular. But sometimes Mom recopied the stories I wrote, and teachers read them to the class, and no one could believe it. And then I got bigger, not much but enough, and I learned I was better at contact sports with their own codes of violence. So it all sort of worked out in the end, but not before I got the feeling that I was the only one in the room who didn't know the code, which has never quite left me. But maybe this feeling could be coded as normal. Would I have been better off if there were codes when I was a kid? That's a code I'll never crack. Last year, the Alberta government was going to get rid of codes. Action on inclusion, the new policy, the new black, the new sheriff in town, said codes were too clinical, too negative and exclusionary. Codes' days were numbered. Suddenly, action on inclusion is dead, and the codes are back with a vengeance. Their cancellation cancelled, termination terminated, bells unrung, codes unbroken.